Hi, welcome to another video with Plant Daddy. Who's your daddy? Plant Daddy. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. In this video, I wanted to share with you some problems that I've been experiencing with my houseplants and how I'm handling the situation. And I'd love to learn from you if you're a plant enthusiast, if you have any recommendations and tips on what I can do to better take care of my plants. But I thought since I started my houseplant care journey a few months ago, I wanted to share with you some learnings that have happened to me, and hopefully maybe they'll help you along with your houseplant journey. So let's go ahead and get right into it. This is the first plant that I received as a gift as we just moved here to New York, and we got this plant. Actually, when I first got this alocasia, I actually didn't know what plant this was. I actually had to use an app to find out what type of plant this was. So I didn't even know the watering requirements. I didn't know the humidity requirements or the light requirements that this plant needed. So that was a bit tricky in the beginning. So I used an app to find out what kind of plant this was, and I was able to ID it that this was an alocasia. So I learned something new when I got my first houseplant a few months ago. And so one of the problems that I first experienced with this plant, and I actually think I overwatered it at first when I first got it, and I'm not sure if the humidity in our apartment was too dry or if this was getting too much sunlight because I put it near a window. But what happened to this alocasia was that these leaves started to curl. So I was like, ooh, doesn't look good here. So this is the first problem that I noticed with my plants, is once the leaves start to curl or change, that was a sign that something was happening to my plants. So I tried to look it up online and see what was wrong with it. And I talked to some person at the plant store that is in my neighborhood, and they mentioned if I missed the plant, then it should be okay. So after I did that, it seemed like the leaf relaxed, but the leaf never went back to a nice formation after it curled. It kind of just stayed like this, and it didn't curl anymore. So I think what I'm diagnosing as what I thought what the problem was, I think I might have put this too close to the window and it got too much sunlight, and that it might have been curling. So that's what I was thinking. But this is a new leaf that has grown, and as if you could see, actually let me show you in this camera here. I don't know if you could see it here, but you see how this leaf is curling here. This looks pretty crinkly. But if you look at the new growth, this is a new leaf that blossomed here. This looks really nice and smooth and not it's wavy, but it's not crinkly, wrinkly like this. But this is nice and smooth. This is a newer leaf. So once I was able to figure out what kind of plant this was and the lighting requirements, we were able to get this plant into good health, and it actually produced three new leaves, and it's actually growing another leaf here. So we're doing pretty good with this to make sure that the soil is moist but not extremely wet. So I've been doing good with the alocasia now. And I have this under a grow light, so it's growing really well in the spot that I have it in the apartment. The other issue that I had when I first got this aglonema, this was the aglonema when I purchased this from the store was in really good health. The leaves were healthy. It was nice, and it looked like it was about to blossom a flower. And then when I took it home, and I don't know if it was underwatered or what, but it was I put it on this coffee table here. It didn't get, it got medium light. But the thing is, the leaf or the bulb that was like forming when I purchased it, and the reason why I got this plant was because I was like, ooh, there's growth happening on this leaf. So it looked like something was about to blossom here. And when I brought it home, that little thing that was supposed to bloom actually dried up. It shriveled and dried up. So I was like, oh man, I must be doing something wrong with this plant. But anyways, that shriveled up. So I ended up cutting it off. And then now, as long as I'm keeping the moisture level up on this aglonema, it seems to be doing okay. And we got new growth again right here. which is good. I have 1, 2, looks like 2 new leaves, and this new thing is blossoming here. So this thing is about to flower down here. So I'm really excited about this, but I wasn't sure if the plant kind of shriveled up as it was going through the acclimatization period when I brought this plant home. But that was a problem that I experienced with this plant here. But I'm really happy with this aglonema now. The reason why I purchased this was because this was listed as one of the NASA research plants for cleaning air. So that's why I got this plant, and I had to run around the city to find this one because I only saw 2 shops with this plant. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, so the next plant I had problems with when I first purchased it was this peperomia. So I was actually, when I first got this plant, I was top watering it, and I kept the moisture level pretty good with this plant, but the mistake I think I made was that I put this too close to my humidifier. Now I had a cool mist humidifier, which I think got on the leaves, and then eventually all the leaves just started to drop. So I was kind of bummed out because this plant actually had more stems and growth on this side of the plant, but the only thing that survived from this peperomia was this this stalk right here. Like all the leaves just completely just dropped. I was like bummed, but I was like, oh man, I'm being a bad plant dad. But I found out I think I probably had it too close to the humidifier. So I ended up buying another one just to see if I can improve the living conditions for this peperomia right here. But after watching a few videos online and reading some articles and blog posts, what I started doing was bottom watering this peperomia, and now it's doing good. So this one looks like it has new growth up here, which I'm really happy about here. So that's the peperomia. Let's move on to the next plant that I was having problems with. This one, I got this elephant's bush. This is a succulent. It's interesting because this looks like a tree, but this is actually a succulent based on the leaves here. I don't know too much about this plant, but the problem I'm experiencing with this plant is the leaves are dropping. So it could be a couple of things. Well, we're getting into fall now, so I'm not sure if that's part of the transition of this plant. But if you might be aware of how this plant behaves, I'd love to get any feedback or learn from you. Please feel free to comment on the comment section below and let me know what might be happening with my plant. But the leaves are dropping, so it's either I'm overwatering it, or maybe there is not enough light. This plant is not receiving enough light, which is causing the leaves to drop. So there's more leaves that have been dropping more than usual in the last few weeks. So it's got me a little concerned. But these are all shriveling up here. Yep, these are all drying out. Those leaves are drying out here. Those are falling. But I do have new growth here. So I'm not sure if that's part of the process where, you know, the old leaves are just going to die and then these new ones are going to bloom. So while the leaves are falling and it's got me a little concerned, I'm feeling optimistic because new growth is happening up here. So I'm keeping an eye out on this one. That's one of the problems I'm experiencing with my elephant bush. The next plant I experienced issues with was this calethia ornata. When I purchased this from the plant shop in Brooklyn, actually 2 of the leaves were like crinkly or had like this damaged leaf that was like curling up on the side, and this was the only plant left, but I decided to purchase it anyways because this caught my eye because of the pink and the green leaves, and so I thought this was really, really nice. So I thought even if it's damaged on a few leaves, you know, let's just get it anyways. And then I cut them off. I cut off the leaves that were bad, and then look now, I have 2 leaves that are growing. So I don't know, I'm keeping an eye on this one. This one I'm happy with now because it has new growth. But when I first got it, it was kind of ugly, but it because of the damaged leaves. But it's looking good now. So that's what I had the problem with that one. Now let's move on to the next plant. Which one should we talk about first next? Let's talk about this audrey ficus. So this was the third. No. This was one of the first plants I also got too. The audrey ficus. So when I purchased this plant from the plant shop, the salesperson did mention that when I bring it into a new home, the leaves will drop because it's going to go through a acclimatization period when the plant moves into a new space just to get situated. But a lot of the leaves started to drop. It's too heavy for me to pick up and bring to the camera here, but I'll try to explain this here in the video. A lot of the leaves on one side of the audrey ficus started to drop, and but the top leaves are doing pretty healthy. And it looked like there might have been some bugs on the leaves, so I did treat this with neem oil twice. And it looks like there's some rust happening on one of the leaves on the bottom here. So that's this one is a really finicky plant. I'm doing okay with it. I was a little concerned about how I should take care of this plant, but if you have any recommendations on how to take care of an audrey ficus, I'd love to get any recommendations and tips. Please feel free to comment below in the comment box and share your tips. Ooh, actually, what's going on here? It looks like there's some like brown spots on the bottom of this leaf here. I don't know if you can see that. I wonder, let me check the other leaves. Yeah, so I'm just starting out my houseplant care journey, so I'm learning about what's going on with these leaves. So it looks like there's some like brown underneath here. I'll try to post a picture in this video to show you here. But I'd love to get any recommendations on how to treat that. So that's the audrey ficus, really finicky. And the final plant that I wanted to share with you that I've just started to realize I have some issues with is my birds of paradise. I think I might have used a little bit too much neem oil on this. I'm not sure, but I'm getting some browning of the leaves up here. Now, I only water this plant with distilled water. So, and the reason why I do that is because I've been told that if I use regular tap water, which has chemicals in it, it would give me yellow or brown tips on the leaves. So I only use distilled water on this plant. But I might have put too much neem oil because I'm starting to see this brown here. I'm not sure if you have any recommendations on what I can do to treat this. I had a leaf go bad on me that I had to cut off. So and the leaves are curling. Actually, now I got two leaves here that look like they're getting scorched here. So I have to be careful with this one. No more neem oil for this one for a little bit. I'm not sure, but if you have any recommendations, I'd love to get your feedback or learn from you as well. But we are getting new growth right here. It looks like on the birds of paradise. So even if I lose, I already lost one leaf. If I lose another one hopefully will pop up here soon. So that's pretty much it. Those are the problems that I've experienced recently in my first 2.5 months of plant care in my plant journey. I'd love to get any recommendations and learn from you as well. If you've solved any of these issues that I'm going through, please feel free to comment on the video below. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful and helpful to diagnose your plants or just learn from the conversation, we can continue after the video in the comment section below. I'd love to continue the dialogue. But thanks for tuning in, and see you in the next video.